What you're about to hear is truly remarkable, a treasure for New York State and really the entire nation. This powerful speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., given in 1962 in New York City, marked the 100th anniversary of the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. And our State Museum has the only known recording. Now, for the first time, all of us can listen to the speech in an online exhibition we've created to bring this piece of history to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need not pause to say how very delighted I am to be here this evening and to be a part of this auspicious occasion.
This speech almost didn't happen. Dr. Martin Luther King had a previous commitment, and Nelson Rockefeller was not going to take no for an answer. So he enticed Dr. King by donating funds to churches in Georgia. King wanted to be able to rebuild those churches, so he decided to come and delivered this monumental speech that puts Martin Luther King in New York State politics and in New York State history.
This fall, we were going through some material that came to us that had nothing to do with Martin Luther King, and these were upstate tapes donated to us from the family of a local radio man. And the curator pulled out a box with a small piece of tape that said Martin Luther King, September 12, 1962, put it in an old reel-to-reel player, and up comes the voice of King.
The Declaration of Independence and the Emancipation Proclamation deserve to live in sacred honor. Many generations of Americans suffered, bled, and died, confident that those who followed them would preserve the purity of our ideals.
A year after the speech, Dr. King organized the 1963 March on Washington. The speech he gave there, the I Have a Dream speech he gave, has several similarities to the speech that's in our collection here.
To hear the vibrancy and the immediacy of Dr. King's speech, to have matched with the I Have a Dream speech, a new text that is owned and housed here in New York. It's a thing of pride for me, not only as a New Yorker, but also as a member of the Board of Regents, treasuring and stewarding the incredible store of history in our State Museum.
I encourage you all to listen to Dr. King's words and reflect on this seminal moment in our nation's history. As you'll hear in his final remarks that night in 1962, Dr. King knew that progress had been made in the struggle for civil rights, but there was still so much work to be done.
So I close by quoting the words of an old Negro slave preacher who didn't quite have his grammar right, but uttered words of great symbolic profundity. They were uttered in the form of a prayer. Lord, we ain't what we ought to be. We ain't what we want to be. We ain't what we gonna be. But thank God, we ain't what we was.